Welcome to another community conversation. I'm Ian Parkinson, your host. I'm here today with Shane Briggs from the City of Medicine Hat. He's the manager of waste and recycling management. Welcome, Shane.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So the big thing we're here today to talk about is the food waste pilot.
Correct.
Why?
So the food waste pilot was a strategy in our solid waste strategy that was rated number one, basically the low-lying fruit of increasing diversion. And that was rated in a criteria of economic feasibility, social impact, and environmental impact.
Okay, now you are diverting product out of the hole that's the landfill.
Correct.
Okay, but I'm under the impression you're also diverting other things as well.
Yes, we do. We divert a lot. We're approximately 52% diversion at the landfill. That's beneficial reuse. That's metal. We collect HHW as well, which is household hazardous waste.
Oh.
And we pretty much take everything.
So the intent is to extend the life expectancy of the landfill.
Yes, 100%. The airspace in a landfill is a non-renewable resource. And when we look at these programs to try to extend the life of a landfill, ultimately that's what we want to do, because we want to give our community the autonomy of being able to handle our own solid waste management,
right,
and not relying on somebody else to do it for us or being at their mercy.
So I would imagine some point in the future, what would a new landfill cost?
So to site a new landfill would be, we just had a high level estimate. It would be between $65 million and $90 million for a brand new landfill.
Wow, I can see why you want to extend the expectancy.
Yes, and so we have to take advantages of opportunities like this, as well as when we have our landfill and we have a fill plan, we have to follow that fill plan in sequence, and then at that time we have to take advantage at certain points strategically to extend those cells that we have in our own footprint right now of the landfill. So,
okay, so back to the food waste pilot project. How's it going?
It's excellent. It's we've had very, very supportive feedback. We're running to about 25% of the pilot throughout the city. So residents would have received the bucket and your brochure to know that you're in the pilot. And that pilot will run until December 31st, so the very end of December. So we basically have four, if you want to call them organic trucks, yard waste trucks. We have one truck now that will just collect through the pilot. It'll just be just for the pilot participants. So it will collect the leaf and yard and then the food waste with it, because that has to be segregated and processed completely different.
Okay, so walk me through. I'm in the kitchen. I've peeled potatoes and carrots, and I've got some lettuce that's seen better days.
Yes.
What do I do with it if I'm in the pilot project?
So essentially the idea, and what other municipalities have done, is we provide a bucket, and there's people that maybe had a bucket, but if we're asking the community to do something, we want to provide them with the tools to do it. So this would fit underneath your sink, and we would put those peelings, food waste, into the bucket. Then you would take that bucket and you would empty the contents into your yard waste cart, your green organics cart, cart, let's call it.
So what is different between the green garden waste bin with food waste in it and just like I'm in Connaught, so I don't have a bucket, so
Right.
I've just got a green bin.
Yeah.
What happens differently between the two?
Okay, so like I said, there's three trucks that will just pick up the yard waste, a part of the yard waste program that started April the 8th and will run till November 14th. And then there's also the pilot participants of the 25% of the pilot, that we have the one truck just focused on that area. So when that truck comes to the compost facility, it'll be segregated, the material, and it's processed in a completely different way, in a pilot, which is basically just a small, shall we call it a small footprint of what the actual program would be like.
Okay, so what do you do differently with the garden waste, food waste, when he dumps the truck at the landfill?
Right. So that is actually, we're using an aerated static pile. Basically, it has a blower fan. It blows air into the material, and it starts that compost activity. It's much faster. It speeds it up by a great deal. Usually, we're windrowing the other material. I always have been doing it for 20 plus years. But this process will speed it up to it's roughly about a 42-day process instead of about a 4-month process.
That's a pretty quick turnaround.
It is.
So it's like a mechanical blower on my compost pile.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So how you're obviously meeting success with the pilot program.
Yes.
If you were to, and I realize the answer is going to be a bit of a guess, but if you extend this program now across the city, how much life expectancy will it give you on the landfill?
So again, yeah, like you said, it is tough to predict because the participation rate, not everybody's going to participate right off the get-go. So we've basically figured out a formula where it's a very low participation rate to begin with, just to be fair, and then just work it up as you go as through the years of the program.
Right.
So essentially, we could extend, depending on participation, we could extend the landfill from 4 years to 10 years, depending on if we were to run a citywide program.
That's a big extension. Obviously, whoever's been selected for the pilot program is now a part of the process.
Yes.
What's the next step? It's going to finish somewhere in December-ish?
Yes. So prior to the program starting, we did a baseline of the waste, basically the waste, what was made up of the composition of it. So we did that in the pilot areas, and we found that about 45% of the material in the garbage was organic material, 12% being leaf and yard waste,
right,
and then 33 to 35% being the food waste.
That's a big piece.
It is. So that's how we started. We started with surveys as well. We also we did a baseline of the participation rates, set out rates, and basically we will do that throughout the pilot and monitor that to ensure that's increasing. And if we increase and we want to get to ultimately about a 60% diversion rate.
Yeah.
And that's where we're headed. And then, so at the end of December, we'll have a final report, and we're basing this all on data collected. So it's all analysis. It's not anybody's opinion or
right,
beliefs. It'll be based on the data that is compiled during this survey.
Hard numbers.
Yes, absolutely.
So who was the poor soul that had to go through the garbage truck?
Actually, we that's our consultant that does that. So,
okay.
Yes.
Pass it off to the guy. So what other things does the city recycle?
We have curbside recycling that just rolled out in June of 2018. We have 3 recycling depots. We recycle metal. We do recycle wood in our compost. We beneficially reuse glass. And we also beneficially reuse dirt, like soil.
Okay. But you also take household hazardous waste.
We do. We take household hazardous waste at the landfill, and that's at no charge. We just don't. We want we want to limit illegal dumping of that or dumping it down the sewers.
So if somebody's not sure where to go with something they want to get rid of beyond the normal household garbage or the yard waste, who do they call?
They call environmental utilities. They can also check the website at medicinehat.ca, and they can also check. We have an app called Recycle Coach, and we also on the website also we have a What Goes Where. So you could actually, maybe people don't have the the cell phones or whatever, so they can use the computer or they can call the office. But you can type in batteries and it'll tell you, yeah, they go to the HHW. You don't put them in your garbage.
Please.
Please.
Don't dump them in Pat Bohan's storm sewer.
Yes.
You mentioned glass. What do you do with the glass?
So the glass, we don't collect the glass in the residential curbside pickup for safety reasons.
Okay.
It is at the depots, and then we basically take it out to our waste management facility, and we crush the glass, and we use it as warning barriers. So when we clean out a sump or a pond, and we don't want to breach the liner, we have that warning barrier. So as soon as you hit the glass, okay, I've reached the bottom of the pit. It's cleaned out.
Well done.
Yeah.
I have to admit, the city administration in particular has been very imaginative and very forward thinking in a lot of their projects.
Right.
Pat Bohan with his old technical coordination committee, where he doesn't dig up the road 3 times, he digs it up once.
Yes.
So is there anything else from waste management you'd like to share with us?
Well, just like we do our 10-year strategies. Like we've done it. We did it from 2012 to 2022, and then now this one 2023 to 2032. So we do really have that forward thinking. We look at everything. We didn't wake up one day and say, let's do food waste.
Do you get much support from the province or the federal government?
We do. We have support from, like the Compost Council of Canada, and we needed a support letter as well for this program from the Alberta government, and as well as it helps to get funding, right, for grant funding for this, which we have not found. Like we have not received an answer on the grant funding, but that could be up to $500,000.
I noticed on the side of the garbage trucks there's a huge sign: no batteries, no propane.
Correct. Yes, we started that just this year. Basically truck wraps with some key messaging on. So no batteries, no compressed cylinders,
Okay.
Which you wouldn't believe the number of people that actually think they can dispose of a compressed cylinder in their garbage. And if that gets into their packer, that could cause an explosion in our trucks.
So if they want to dispose of batteries or compress it, like camping propane cans or 25-pound barbecue bottles,
Yep.
where do they go?
So we can take them out at the landfill, no charge, and you can also take them back to the retail store, the London Drugs, the Home Depots, where you purchase them from.
Right.
They'll take them back as well.
If you're taking produce, for a better word, like batteries or oil or paint, you don't pay.
Right. 100%.
Okay.
The only thing we ask is if it's separated. So if you come with a truck full of garbage, and then with those items, then yes, you're going to have to pay for the garbage. But if you can bring those items out separately, there's no charge.
Excellent.
And as well as the electronics, we recycle the electronics. We have the waste management facility that there's no charge for the electronics either, but there's also 2 independent internal depots within the city.
Yes.
The bottle depots that will take the electronics.
What happens to the electronics?
They're basically recycled, and the components are reused, melted down, and yeah.
Okay.
It's the world we live in today.
Yes. Now, we spoke earlier about the wood clean wood and the big machine that you've had issues with? I believe the term is "don't dump the stump."
Correct. We ran a campaign, a social media campaign, "Don't Dump the Stump," and essentially, the yard waste cart, green organics cart, is meant for yard material, but it's not meant for stumps over like 2 inches.
Okay.
So basically, we're getting a lot of that. We get a lot of people just dump a complete stump in there, and then when we turn the material, because we have to turn our windrows, it gets all caught up in the machinery, and can basically throw stumps right at the guys that are turning in the tractor, turning the material.
So this is a safety issue for city
Huge
employees.
safety issue, and also it's a real bottleneck for our facility, because it's it's contamination. Like you wouldn't believe some of the things you find in those, like garden hoses, compressors, air compressors, propane cylinders. And so we just ask people to be cognizant of what they're putting into their cart, and at the end of the day, we just think about an actual machine turning, the windrows, and if it's going to get caught up in there, and if it's not an allowable material, please don't throw it in.
So maybe one more time, if somebody is not sure which bin or where to go, who do they call?
You can call Environmental Utilities, 403-529-8176, or you can also go to medicinehat.ca/food waste or yard waste. You can also go to, there's on our website, there's a what goes where, and as well as we have an app called Recycle Coach, and you can type in exactly what you want to dispose of, and it'll tell you what to do with it.
One question that comes to mind: do you have any apartment buildings in your pilot project area?
So we don't. We chose to run with residents,
Okay.
just that had the green organics card already, and that was the highest participation
Right.
routes or zones. That's the ones we chose to get a bigger bang for the buck. But ultimately, if this became a citywide program, that would probably be our second or third phase to hit multi dwelling units like that.
So we had a lot of people going out first thing in the morning with their purse and their green bucket.
Yes, absolutely. They would probably receive green buckets and then just have a bin, rather than like your green organics cart. So
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to share?
I just wanted to thank people. We had the survey, post survey, and then participant survey and citywide survey, and we really want to hear people's feedback on this program. We'll be very transparent with the survey results, and with the data that we do compile. And basically, I just want to thank the residents who have participated in the survey. We were at the municipal mingle last night, and we had very, very positive feedback. And it's just a different way of thinking. Like I happened to move into a pilot area. I just moved recently in the last couple of months, and I moved into a pilot area, and it does take a different mindset to, okay, I have to throw this in here. And then if you're some people don't like the size of the buckets. They're either too small or too large. And we went with buckets that other municipalities use all the time. So the idea of that is to basically empty the bucket as often as you need to into the organics cart. If it gets smelly, dump it in, I guess more frequently than you would. So,
Right.
yeah. And just those people that, that give their feedback, positive or negative, we want to hear it. So.
Well, you mentioned the Muni Mingle that happened last night between 4 and 7 at Town Square. How did that go?
That was excellent. It was nice to see. There was a lot of people out, and it was nice to see. There is a lot of community members that are, environmental stewards, so to speak. As far as the rain barrels, they gave away 30 rain barrels, I think, for the first 30 people, and they're having a draw for the rain barrels, and as well as the people that came over to our booth that they might have moved from a different community and said they did already have the food waste, so that's one thing where Medicine Hat's not reinventing the wheel with this whole food waste program, but we have done the organics in the past. So they just said to me last night to us that basically it took them a couple months to get that framework, frame of mind, and it's quite easy.
Now, it occurs to me that we should ask people who are not in the pilot project, please don't put your food waste in the yard waste.
Yes, 100%. If you have received the bucket, if you're in the the pilot area, then that's when you can empty the contents of the bucket or any other bucket you wish to use into the green organics cart. And if you did not get a bucket, then you're not in the current pilot. But you may be, if we decide to, ultimately it'll be a council decision. We'll provide them with all the basically all the data and all the survey results. And at the end of the day, it'll be their decision.
Well, I look forward to seeing the mayor with her green bucket.
Look forward to everybody having a green bucket.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Well, thank you for coming in, Shane.
Thank you very much for having me, Ian.
This was another community conversation. Thank you for watching.